For much of the past nearly 2 years since he entered our life, our son's favorite movie has been The Sound of Music. He can be agitated by any number of things, being hungry, teething, cranky because he didn't nap long enough, frustrated because we wouldn't let him play with the trash can or the dishwasher. But within seconds of starting the movie, he settles into a tranquil, almost trance-like state as the opening sequence plays. It's almost as if, for a moment, he has been transported out of his very hard life to the Austrian Alps with their snow-covered peaks, graceful pine trees, serene lakes, and the hills so alive with the sound of music. It's a beautifully enchanting beginning to a movie that takes a rather dark turn with the arrival of the Nazis in the second act. But that's a subject for another sermon. Lately, however, our son seems to have entered his Disney era. So in addition to The Sound of Music, some new titles have been added into the rotation. The Lion King, The Little Mermaid, and Aladdin, just to name a few. These movies all seem to share a common theme. A protagonist wrestles with the complexities of the life that they seem destined to live, longing for what they imagine to be a more abundant life than the one that they have been living. In The Lion King, the young Simba dreams of becoming king when no one will be able to tell him what to do. That will be the good life, he thinks, until he is manipulated by his power-hungry uncle into fleeing and abandoning his rightful royal throne. He seems to discover paradise, a life of Hakuna Matata, no worries, with his newfound friends Timon and Pumbaa. But soon Nala, his childhood friend and companion, finds him and reminds him that this life is not the abundant life that he is called to live. Even if the life he is called to live includes real challenge and responsibility, even fear and danger. In The Little Mermaid, young Ariel, from her kingdom under the sea, longs to be a part of the world up there where the people are. Sure, she has gadgets and gizmos aplenty. She has who's-its and what's-its galore, she sings. But who cares? No big deal. I want more. What she wants, what she thinks will give her the abundant life that she seeks, are legs and feet so that she can walk, run, jump, stroll, dance, and ultimately fall in love on that shore up above. But her companion, Sebastian the hermit crab, warns her, the seaweed is always greener in somebody else's lake. In Aladdin, the young street rat, as others call him, scrapes by on whatever he can find by sneaking around, pilfering, pickpocketing, and deceiving others. He seemingly gets the opportunity of a lifetime when a genie from a magic lamp grants him 3 wishes which allow him to taste a more luxurious lifestyle. Sweeping a princess off her feet on a magic carpet ride to show her a whole new world that she cannot imagine from within her palace walls. Aladdin's adventure, however, is little more than an illusion, a mirage, a fleeting escape from his real life. Dreams of a more abundant life, of course, did not begin with Disney movies in the 90s. The crowds who so often gathered around Jesus must have been searching for a more abundant life. just like their ancestors before them, who had so often wrestled with God over the perceived gap between the lives they lived with all their struggle, pain, and heartache, and the promises God had given them, a land, a nation of their own, a great name among the kingdoms of the earth, a blessing upon them and upon all the families of the earth through them. Yet God's people had so often been led astray from that vision into worshiping idols, yes, even by their own kings who were supposed to be their shepherds. So often they had been conquered, subjected to oppression, slavery, and exile by kingdoms and empires that had no interest in ensuring abundant life for them. The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy, Jesus says. They knew the thieves well, the emperors and authorities, faithless kings and false prophets, the snake oil salesmen, con artists, and grifters of their time, seeking to gain something for themselves by selling the people a shiny but ineffective solution to their real problems. You and I might not be scoundrels like Aladdin. We might not be a mermaid princess like Ariel or a lion prince like Simba. But like them, we too often long for a life that seems more abundant than the one that we have been living. And we look for that abundant life in places that sometimes turn out to be nothing more than pipe dreams that trick us into selling our souls with alluring but unsustainable promises, or perhaps merely momentary escapes from reality. Gambling, addiction, and even the escapist fantasies of a movie marathon or Netflix binge. What might seem to begin with a little thrill, a simple relief, or an entertaining glimpse into a different lifestyle or a different world, can become a bandit and a thief who threatens to rob us of the abundant life that Jesus so desires for us. Jesus says, "I came that they may have life and have it abundantly." Jesus sees us, his sheep, in all our walks of life. Our just scraping by life, our close but not quite life, our I'm happy but unfulfilled life, our barely making ends meet life, our there's got to be something more life. And he offers us the gift of abundant life. And Jesus promises us a kingdom, a whole new world where the seaweed truly is greener and where there will be no worries. Hakuna Matata. What a wonderful phrase. That is the world of abundant life that Jesus wants to show us and wants us to inhabit, even in a world where such abundant life does not seem possible. That world is not meant to be merely a dream, an illusion, or an escape from this world. Even though there are things in our lives, even things beyond our control that threaten to rob and drain us of the abundant life that he desires for us, Jesus calls us to continue hoping in that life and to do what we can to make that kind of life possible for ourselves and for others. He invites us to tap in to that abundant life so that infuses and transforms all of our not so abundant lives. As we face a world that doesn't always seem to be interested in that kind of life, we can take comfort and find encouragement in the Serenity Prayer, to which I've made one slight adjustment at the end. But in closing this sermon, I invite you to repeat each line after me. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference as we embrace your gift of abundant life. Amen.